Okay. Hi, everybody. I see people are logging on. Just got a couple of things here. Hey, Barb. See, your comment did show this time. That's great. Hi, Susan. Hi, Mary. Hi, Mary Ann. Hi, Deborah. All righty. Okay. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Monica. Hi, Chris. Oh, you guys are coming on. Hey, Deb. Hey, toots to you. Hi, Joanne. All right, we got a nice crowd. Okay, so today I'm going to be real honest with you. I have been using sterling silver and fine silver for years and really don't have any problem with it. But I did buy some argentium a couple of weeks ago, and I've been playing around with it. And I'm having kind of a hard time with it. I know a lot of people really love it, and I want to love it too. But I think it's going to take a little bit of practice and a little bit more learning. I had looked up a lot of information on it, and I thought that I was, doing it the right way, and I still kind of think I am. But anybody out there that has been using argentium, and if you want to chime in and help out with any of the issues that I have, I would love to hear your thoughts on the argentium. So this is basically just a little bit of comparison so that you can get familiar with another silver metal if you want to. So a lot of people that use it love it, and like I said, I want to love it too. Hey, Joni. Hi there. Hi, Leah. Hi, Renee. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's the thing, Marianne. I never used it before either. And when I was watching one of Gwen's videos a couple of weeks ago, she was fusing some argentium rings, and you can get real close up when you see her videos, and it just looked so amazing how it fused together, so nice. So I thought, well, I need to see what I'm missing out on. Hey, Rhonda. Okay, so what I did was I got, I'm going to turn the camera down and show you what I put together here. All right, what I put together here, the different kinds of silver that I have, and I know this stuff is backwards, but this is the sterling silver in this area here. This is fine silver here, and this is argentium over here. I did make a handout, so there are some reference places that you can check out information on using argentium. So the links will be in the handout, and you can learn about it if you don't know about it. Hi, Kenneth. Okay, so what I have here is I wanted to do a comparison, like doing head pins in sterling versus doing them in fine silver versus doing them in argentium, and the same with these links, these round links. So I have a few of these already made, and then I'm going to make some of these, in front of you so that you can see what I'm doing and how I do it. Oh, I see that we're getting interrupted quite a bit. No, I hope we have a better broadcast. All right, Deborah says she's planning a demo first Friday over at Eva's group on fusing argentium, working on a design for a pendant. That is great, Deborah. I want to make sure that I don't miss that. And also, if you can chime in on anything that I'm doing, if I'm doing something wrong or could be doing something a little bit differently or better, please let me know. Um, okay, so what I have here are some sterling silver head pins that I tried to ball, and they do ball up, but they're very pitted. I don't know that you can see them very closely, but they're very very pitted. There's really nothing else how I compare it, how I can compare that or relay that. But let's see if you can see a little bit closer. I don't know if that will help. But anyway, they're very pitted, so I don't really care for that look at all. You can take a cup burr and kind of round them out a little bit if you have the right size cup burr. But it just seems like that's a lot of bother if you can get the job done with a different wire. Okay, and then these are a couple of the sterling silver links that I made. And I've got to be honest, I really like making these round links with sterling silver as opposed to fine silver, only in the respect that the sterling is a little bit harder. You know, it has more mixed metal in it than the fine silver. And when I am doing the embossing around the metal, it just seems like the fine silver is a little bit mushier, and that would be because it's a higher silver content. So I just kind of like to make the links with the sterling silver, although that may change and I may want to do them with argentium. I'm not really sure at this point. So then I would not recommend doing bald head pins with sterling silver, but if that's all you got and you don't mind the look, then I'd say go for it. And I also mostly make all my jump rings with sterling. I have made some recently with fine silver, and I do kind of like those. So, I mean, that's another option there. Okay, so then the fine silver makes beautiful bald head pins. They just ball up real nice. There's no dimpling at all in them. And this is 3 different size wires. This is, I want to say this is 22, 20, and 18 gauge that I balled here. And I'm very happy with those. And these are links that I made pretty much like those, but these I ran through the rolling mill to get a little texture on them, and I really kind of like that a lot, actually. And then these are some toggle end clasps that I made with fine silver, and I probably will always make them with the fine silver because of the way the ends ball real nice on there. So Chris is asking if sterling solders itself like fine silver. It does not. You have to use flux and solder, and I'm going to do a little demo on that in a few minutes so that you can see the process. So then we go over to the argentium. I didn't have such great success making the head pins, although these look pretty decent, but I still need a lot of practice on these. I didn't get the balls on the ends to look quite as nice and plump, if you will. So, you know, like I said, I need practice on that. It does make beautiful round balls, though, if you want to add that to some of your work. And also, it did pretty well on the circle links that I made. The only thing that that I had a little bit of issue with is I torched these on my solderite board, and it could have been my fault. I may have overfired them a little bit, but I kind of got the texture of the solderite board on the back side. So I'm thinking that maybe I might have overfired these. Now, in reading about the Argentium, there was an article that recommended doing your firing on a charcoal block of Argentium. And I did try that, and that seemed to be solving that issue. But like I said, I still can't be sure if I just didn't overcook them a little bit. So, so we'll do a few comparisons, that I'll torch a few of these things up, and then I'll stop periodically to see if there's any comments or questions, and we'll go from there. Oh yeah, I can see I'm pixelating pretty bad. Last week, the broadcast was nice and clear. It stopped a couple of times, but this time it's pretty bad. So let's hope that we can get through this and that you can actually see what I'm doing. Fran, Argentium does fuse to itself. So that's kind of a neat thing. Hey, Paula. Hi, Renee. Okay, we have a nice crowd here, so I hope I do you okay. All right, so I'm going to set these aside, and I'll start with, I guess I'll start with the sterling silver. And I've prepared a few things here. All right. Okay, so here is my sterling silver right here. And I just cut a few circle links, and I'm going to get my solderite board here. And I'm going to use my crusty side for the side that I'm going to put my flux on, so I don't mess up the board. Chris, I couldn't tell you exactly, but it's probably very comparable in price. I know the fine silver is definitely more expensive than sterling, and I think Argentium might be right in there with that. If anybody else knows, go ahead and chime in. All right, so for soldering these links, you need solder, which I am, for this project, I'm just using easy solder. Solder comes in easy, medium, and hard. There's also an extra easy, but I very seldom, if ever, use that. Okay, so I cut these links off of a coil. I may be disconnecting some other ones so you can see what I did, but I usually cut my rings with a jump ring system, and it cuts them really nice and even, flush, so the contact points are really good. But these I cut with some flush wire cutters, so we'll see how well they do. I have a really bad connection, Al. Okay, so that's nice and closed, flush. I'm going to point that the split part where they connect towards me, so I always know where it's at, where to focus my flame on. And I'm going to use some flux and flux the ring. And where's my fire? Oh, here we go. I'm just using a micro torch for this. Sometimes some of the more powerful torches, I've had issues with those, and they kind of obliterate the silver. So, all right, so I'm going to turn on my torch. I fluxed that area. I've got my solder pick in hand. I'm going to go grab my little solder ball here, heat up the metal all the way around, get it nice evenly heated. And then I'm going to come right in and lay that little ball of solder down, and there it flowed. So it's pretty quick. Now on this ring you can see that it's gotten dark. That is because there's other mixed metals in with the sterling. So it will regain its shiny finish after I put it in the pickle. And that I've got in a little jar in a cup warmer here. And put that inside. I didn't quench this. Should quench that first and just drop that in. And put this back on my cup warmer, and it will do its thing to get that fire scale off. All right, so now, just for the heck of it, I will do a head pin with the sterling silver. And I'm just doing it for comparison's sake. Hang on just 1 second, please. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. So I'm going to lift this up so you can see what I'm doing here, and I actually don't want to burn my phone either, so we'll do that. All right. So I'm going to start my flame. You should have a little bowl of water underneath you just in case the solder, in case the silver breaks off and you don't want it to splat all over the place. All right, so I'm going to put my head pin. I'm going to position it. I'm just using an old pair of utility pliers. And I'm going to position the head pin right in the blue tip of the flame, which I'm not sure if you can see or not, but right away it starts to ball up, which it just did. Okay. I'm going to quench it. The silver gets dark. Gets that, whoop, burn the hairs on my finger. Okay, should have shut that off. Okay, so you can see that this is kind of puckered. Hopefully you can see that, but that's what sterling does. Okay, I've tried dipping this in flux too. I saw there was a recommendation for doing that, and I didn't see any difference, but you know, maybe you'll get better results. Yeah, the beeping is, my husband's working in my utility room, so he's, I think he's looking for stud walls or something. So that's what that is, Deb. Okay. All right, so that's this one. That's the head pin in sterling. And I don't know why I did this. Anyway, so that's what you get. It gets kind of pruny looking. All right. So let's move on to the fine silver. Yeah, Deb, I'm just looking at the comment now. And I tried fluxing it, but it didn't seem to make any difference. So I can do one. You know what? I'll just do one right now, and then we can see, because I've got extra wire sitting here. So I'm going to use Handy Flux in this situation. Turn my flame on. Dip it in some Handy Flux. Whoa, that wasn't good. And the flux just fell right off. But there is still some on the pin. And I think this one's going to be a big fail. Nope, maybe not. No, it didn't really, I would say it didn't really help. So, but I am going to try the flux with the Argentium when we get to that point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was right over this, so I should have put my water bowl on there too. Okay. So that kind of shows that the flux didn't really make any difference on the wrinkliness of the balls. All right. So now we've got fine silver coming up here. It's really trying hard not to mix up the metals. Deborah says, pull the ball out of the flame very, very slowly. The reason for the pitting is that the copper and silver cool at different rates. That's good to know. That is good to know. Thanks, Deborah. Okay, so we've got some fine silver here. And I cut a link from that. I'm going to do a couple of these, I think. I guess I only cut one of these rings. I'll cut another one. These have to be closed very, very well. I have my doubts about this one. The Argentium, you can kind of get away with them not being so closed, so flush, but for the fine silver and the sterling silver, it really it's important for them to be closed really well. But if I didn't close it, then you'll see what happens. All right, and I'm putting that split towards me, and no flux required on these. And hopefully you'll be able to see this. All right. Now, look how bad this is. It's like it's all grainy. You can't even see what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got my torch, And I don't need any flux, I don't need any solder, and I'm going to just warm this up, just circulating the heat all the way around the ring. And as I get closer, as it gets hotter and gets closer to the melting point, or the fusing point, I should say. You don't want melting point. But as it gets closer, it turns a little whitish, then it turns kind of a slick silvery color, liquidy, and kind of zero in on that area that I want to fuse. And kind of wave it just a little bit. This did not fuse real well. So what I'm going to do is give it a second to cool and flip it over. I should have used my clean board for this. Oh, in a perfect world. There we go. And my solder board stuck to it. So I'm going to do the other one on the other side. I'm going to heat this up again. This may be ruined because of the solder sticking, or solderite board sticking to it. And I'm going to say that's a dud because I don't think it was closed well enough to begin with. But it looks like it's closed kind of on one side, not so good on the other. So what I'm going to do is turn this board over to the clean side. I just didn't want to get any flux on this side, so that's why I'm using this. All right, so we'll try again here. Okay, that one fused, and it's still shiny silver. There's no fire scale on it. And I'm going to quench it. And it looks good. Okay, let's do one more because I'm a glutton for punishment. So this one I have to trim. Cutting the edges flush, the ends of this jump ring. Save all your little tidbits because they make good balls. And we'll close this up. All right. That heats up pretty fast. Turn that over just and hit the seam on the other side just a bit to make sure it's fully fused. There we go. You really have to back off fast when you get to that fusing point. Otherwise, you're going to melt. You're going to melt your silver into a puddle, and you don't want that. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to pick this up and quench it. and it's perfectly fused. It'll make a nice component in something. All right. So now we'll do the fine silver wire, and this I have 20 and 22 gauge wires for experiment. All right. Just hold my wire with the utility pliers and get right at the tip of the blue flame. That's where the heat is the hottest, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's already starting to ball. Sometimes you get a little tiny nib at the bottom, and just burn that off. And that's a nice head pin right there. I'll do another one. See how fast that is? That's a nice head pin right there. Beautiful. And we'll do a little thinner wire. I apologize, guys. This is just a terrible broadcast. I thought by upping our internet provider, the service, would be helpful, and it actually, last week it was, but this week is terrible. Okay, there's another one. See how quick that is? This is the 22 gauge wire right here. Tip of the blue flame. Sometimes if you get too greedy, you know, and want to get a bigger ball, sometimes you keep it in the flame a little bit too long, and then the ball falls off. So that's not always a good thing to do. But if you're trying to make the head pins for, you know, adding things on, these are great, great for not coming through the bead hole. Sometimes you have to use like a little 2mm or 3mm ball on the end of a standard head pin, and this eliminates that need. So my vote so far is for fine silver. It is just awesome for making head pins. Okay, and for links as well. All right, so I'm going to keep these to the side so I don't mix up my metals. And now let's break out the argentium. And for that, I'm going to use the charcoal block. Here's my stuff. Oh, it's over here. Okay. All right, so I guess I really shouldn't keep this paper around. All right, so I already cut some links of the argentium, and you see I have a little nick on the silver here, but that's okay. And I am going to dip this into the Handy Flux, just where the seam area is, and we'll see if that does anything. put that on my charcoal block. Hey, Wendy. Okay. All right, so get with Argentium. So what I've read so far is that you don't really need to heat up the whole piece as much as the area that you're focusing on that you want to fuse. It's hard. It's a hard thing not to do that once you've been, heating up the whole piece. But this says mostly to focus on the area that you're trying to fuse together. So that's what I'm doing. The metal is kind of turning a whitish color. And it looks like it fused, but I can still see the split a little bit. So I'm going to flip that over and heat up this side just a tad. And the thing with Argentium is you're not supposed to touch it while it's hot, which I just did, so I don't know if that's going to affect anything. Because this is subject to shatter. Argentium can shatter pretty easily. Okay. So I'm going to let that sit on the block. You know, your first instinct is to pick it up with the tweezers and quench it, but this you're not supposed to do that because, like I said, it can shatter. So you need to let it cool for a minute or so, maybe less. I don't know, but I'm going to do another one in the meantime because I'm not real thrilled with this one. The thing that I'm finding here, though, is that it's picking up some of the charcoal from the charcoal block on there, and I don't know if that matters any or not. So I'm going to check comments in a minute and see if anybody has any insights on that issue. See how the charcoal stuck to that. So I'm just going to put that over to the side for right now. And I don't know, can you guys see? I hope you can see. It's turning kind of white, that's normal. Let that cool a second, and then I'll flip it over and do another one here without flux. I think I need some more fuel in this torch. It's kind of petering out on me. Here we go. That looked pretty good. I don't know if this is because it's a new block. Alright, yeah, this is definitely needing to be refilled. Alright, so I'll let that cool a bit. Okay, Deborah's got some good tidbits here. Okay. Yeah, Deb, I don't know what's with the internet. I don't know, maybe it's more people using it from school break, like you're saying. I really don't know. Um, but it sure is frustrating when you're doing these because you want everybody to be able to see what you're doing. That's the whole point. Um, hey, Wendy. Deborah says she often puts flux on the entire thing. When it turns glassy, you know you're close. Argentium holds the heat why it fuses so well, and good to let it cool. Dipping too soon makes it shatter. Right. I did find that out, Deb. Okay. So Wendy, I think the jury's out on the flux situation, but some people do and some people don't from what I've read, but I don't see what it could possibly hurt to do it. So, okay. All right. All right, so I'm going to, this one looks the best. This one looks really good. So, I don't know, I tried to do a substantial amount of research before I did this demo, and I got kind of frustrated, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and we'll see what happens, and maybe I would learn something. So Deb, you've provided me with a lot of good information here. Now, this appears to be soldered, but I can still see the split, and I don't like that. So I'm going to redip. It's kind of a lot. I don't think I need that much. All right, put this on here. All right, this one I think I can quench. Yeah, this one looks real nice. So theoretically, you don't have to pickle the argentium, but I am going to pickle it anyway, just because, especially if you've got flux on it. And some of this charcoal crap is still on here, so I will stick it in the pickle just to be sure. Yeah, see, this is the first one that I did, and I had quite a bit of charcoal stuck to it, and the solderite board, if you remember. So that definitely is going to go in the pickle, but actually it looks quite good. So yay. All right, let's redo this one, and then I'll move on to head pins with the, oh, I can't use this one. Oh yes, I can. I've got more fluid right here. Let me fill up my torch. PU, it stinks. All right. Okay, back in business. And we'll reheat this. Well, I can still see that line just a tad, but apparently it's fused really well. Well, really well, I don't know until I bang on it, and we'll see what happens. But I'll let that cool a minute. And Deb, if you're still there, can you tell me if you, actually, I guess I should try one on the solderite board and see if if I get the texture from the solderite board on here or not, because that was a little bit bothersome to me that was on there. I'm going to keep these over here. That's the thing with mixed metals like this, is trying to keep them. Wow, that took a big chunk of charcoal. Okay, look at that. That's unbelievable. Like I said, it's a new charcoal board, so maybe that's part of the issue. I don't know. Get some of this stuff off. Unbelievable. All right, I'll let that soak a minute. In the meantime, I need to get my Argentium wire. And Argentium, by the way, I got it at Rio, and they have pink tags on their Argentium, so that's kind of a nice thing to help you not get confused with your other wires. I leave all the tags on mine anyway, just to avoid that issue, but having that tag is nice. So I'm just going to I'm using these Weber, I think they're called baling pliers. They're really nice to make small rings with. Okay. All right. Ow. Okay. So I'm cutting flush cuts on these rings. Just disconnect one here. Oops. Try to close this ring up as I have steel wool stuck to my pliers. Okay, so that's closed as well as I can close it. We'll get the solderite board here. The split is towards me, facing me. Focus on this split area. That looks like it fused pretty fast and looks pretty good, but we'll see what happens on the reverse side when I turn it over. But I have to wait a second or a few seconds. It's nice to keep your scraps in little containers. I have these handy on my work area all the time, and I've labeled them Argentium fine and 925 for sterling. So all the little pieces that I get from trimming just go right into the box, and there's no mix-up that way. All right, just another little tip, and let's see the reverse of this. That actually looks much better than the ones that I did before, and I think it was because I probably had the heat on it too long. That would be my guess, because it should not, your metal should not pick up the surface of your solderite board or charcoal. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, then we'll move on to head pins, and then maybe make a few balls and see how that works with the Argentium. All right, making a mess here. All right, so I think I'll get, no, I need my water bowl. This is Argentium. This is the one that had the charcoal all over it, which just is coming off just fine, but it's fused. All right. Where'd my rag go? Oh, it must have fallen on the floor. Okay. So let's do the Argentium head pins. Let me stick one in some of the flux. I'm going to get a little stronger torch here, a little stronger flame. And this that I have in the Argentium is 16 gauge wire. I don't know why I didn't buy 18 when I put my order in. Maybe I was feeling cheap. I don't really know, but I wish I had bought some 18 gauge to see about balling up head pins. So I can't give you that comparison, but it should work. My feeling is that it should work the same no matter what. Let's see. All right, so let's turn on the torch. I've got my water bowl, my utility pliers, and let's see if you can see. Having a hard time seeing if I'm in the flame or not. Yeah, I am, I guess. All right, there it goes. Oh, that looks nice. That looks nice. I had to stop myself from putting it in the quench cup. Yeah, that looks good. So you do get a little bit of fire scale on the Argentium, even though it says that it is pretty much fire scale proof, but it seems like on the head pins, I don't know exactly why that happens, but it seems like it occurs more on the head pins than it does on the other pieces that I've done so far. So I'm going to let this cool, and then I will put these along with the other ones that I just did into the pickle. I'll do one more of the head pins. And like I said, this is 16 gauge, so it's rather thick for a head pin. But like I said, I only bought 14 and 16 gauge wire, so in the Argentium. That fell right off, but there still is a little residue on the pin, and that's balling right up. One thing that I've noticed with the Argentium is that it slumps a little bit. I'm going to see if I can correct this or make it worse. I'll leave it go. This one is a little bit crooked. If I kept the heat on it though, more than likely that ball would fall off. I could form another one on there, but this would get droopy and then just fall into the water. So this is what requires some practice. At least for me, it seems like I'm having a little more difficulty with getting these perfected. But like I said, lots of people love it, so it must be me. All right, so that's the head pins. And let's see. All right. Okay, so we'll do a couple of balls here with the Argentium. I'll show you how that works. Hopefully they won't blow off the block. I did not put flux on these. There it goes. And just let it round up. Do another one. It's so cool when that happens. So you can make them different sizes depending on your needs. If you want them uniform size, you can measure, your little increments of wire so that way you get the same size all the time. You can use jump rings that are already made. Just cut, just use one ring at a time to make a ball, whatever size you get. And what else? You can also use bezel wire, like fine bezel wire. You can, the ones that have the scallops, those are kind of cool because you can just cut, where all the scallops are and make little pieces. So that's pretty neat. These don't seem to be quite as shiny. They look more white right now, but after you pickle your stuff, or you may not need to pickle these things, but you can put them in a tumbler and they will brighten right up. They'll look really good. I'm going to do a little bit with some fine silver. I'll make a ball with a fine silver. Where did I put it? Hang on a second. Get my bag of tricks out here. Okay, that is 14 gauge fine silver. Back here. Yeah, it's a nice big ball. And there's a teeny tiny one right here, so I'm going to just stick that in there. Add it to that. Okay. So that will retain the heat for a few minutes, so you want to not pick it up until you don't see any of the red anymore. Otherwise you're going to get little dents in your ball. And who wants dents in their balls, honestly? Okay. There we go. There you go. Easy. Easy peasy. All right, and just for shits and giggles, we'll do a little bit of sterling, and I'll show you in comparison how they look in comparison to the fine silver and the argentium. Okay, move those over. Come on, get off. It's stuck. The flux. There's flux on my pliers now. Okay. All right. So, and you know, if you're making lots of balls at the same time, keep them spaced apart. Otherwise, they kind of migrate into each other, and then you'll get a larger ball than you were planning on. So this is the sterling silver. Over here. Should always have a tool when you're in your hand when you're doing this kind of stuff. Okay, now these look actually pretty nice. They're maybe just slightly not as smooth as the others, but honestly, I think they look pretty good, except that you can see that they've got the fire scale on them, where the fine silver does not. So these definitely, the sterling definitely have to go in the pickle, but they're very doable. It's just the head pins that get all puckery. Okay, so this is argentium here, and this is the fine silver there. Okay. So I think I covered it all. That I was going to anyway. If there's any questions or comments, I'm gonna look through here real quick and see if there was anything I missed. Yeah, you know, Barb, organization, it's like especially important when you're doing one of these lives, because it is so easy to mess up, you know, or not be able to find something, or whatever. And especially this one took a little more thought because of the 3 different types of metal, and I didn't want to get them mixed up. So yeah, it was worth taking the extra time to do that. So let's see here. Deborah says to use the cleanest area you can find. I never really worry about that since I texture my links for the most part. I will try to pay attention. Yeah, that's what I was also reading in the argentium information, was cross-contamination is a possibility when you're using the other metals, with the tools that you use other metals for. So it's probably best to make sure the tools that you're going to use for your argentium are cleaned and don't have any other residue on them. Yeah, Suni, I will have a few links in the handout. I've got the numbers from the argentium that I could just take a picture of and post those, but they're only for the wires that I bought, the 16 and the 14 gauge, but that'll be helpful. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, I think it's just going to require, in my opinion, just more experimentation with this stuff. Deborah, you've been very helpful with some of the issues that I was concerned about. That, you know, I was getting, the head pins were getting a lot of the fire scale on them, and I kept reading, I went over the notes that I took and all that, or the handouts or information that I had about Argentium, and it kept saying that one of the attractive things about it was it didn't get fire scale, and I was finding out that for the head pin part, that wasn't really quite accurate. But I pickle stuff, all my other stuff, so it's not really a big deal if I have to pickle the Argentium as well. Now I'm taking this one out of, this is the sterling silver link that I made a little earlier. Just took that out of the pickle, and all of that black fire scale is gone from the link. So, sterling is a little bit less expensive than the other wires, the other silver wires, but you have a little bit more work to do when you have to do the pickling. And the tumbling I would do no matter which metal I used. Even the fine silver, when it comes out really shiny, I would still put that in the tumbler to work harden it a little bit. There's no problem doing that. So I hope that shed a little light on the different kinds of silver wire that I use, and that you won't be afraid to try the other if you want to. I don't know. I enjoy working with fine silver and sterling for sure, both, and for different reasons, but they're nice to have. Okay, next week I think I'm going to do a chainmail bracelet. I haven't done chainmail for a while, so I think that's what I'm going to do in copper, and we're going to add some little pretty things to it. It should be cute. And then maybe the week after that I might do those new pendants and earrings that I posted last night with the Potter impression dies that I thought were pretty cool. So, and I need to do a review on the bandsaw that I got, the Micromark bandsaw. Rhonda, my buddy Rhonda, is going to be here on Friday, and we're going to play around with it and try some stuff out. We got it all put together, and I do have to say, if my husband didn't put it together for me, I think I would have really struggled putting it together. So, just so you're aware, there is some assembly required, that if you have somebody that knows how to do those things, maybe you can do it yourself. I don't know, but I'm not into any of that stuff. So thankfully he is, and Rhonda and I will play on Friday, and then we'll let you know about that. So I don't know. I may change my mind on next week's project, but I'll let you know on Sunday for sure what it's going to be. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining me today. I always love it when you're here with me, answering questions and comments. And oh, Marianne, you signed up for the Potter's monthly box. Good for you. There's a lot of fun stuff in those boxes. I get them periodically. I kind of go in and then drop out, and go in and drop out. But you get a lot of nice impression dies, pancake dies, texture plates, a lot of fun stuff. So, okay, guys, I will see you all next week. So have a great rest of your week. Happy New Year's Eve and New Year's. And I shall see you back here on next Tuesday. But I will post the results of what we did today on the group page in a little while. So, okay, bye. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.